Hello G.I. Joe and 118 Scale fans, this is The Human Mechanism. I'm actually in the process of working on a project for you guys, however, due to unforeseen circumstances, it's going to be delayed. So in the meantime, I hope this will tide you guys over. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Power Team Elite Blackhawk, but this is not going to be a traditional Human Mechanism review. Instead, this is going to be a look at the evolution of the toy. I bought my first Power Team Elite Blackhawk in June of 2006, and as someone who just turned 30, it's now hitting me how horrifyingly close that is to 20 years ago. She was first deployed to the sandbox of a summer camp, carrying troops and supplies where they needed to be. This helicopter went on a lot of adventures that summer in 2006. Other kids brought bigger and admittedly better toys than I did. However, for whatever reason, they were drawn to this helicopter. Sadly, she was lost in a crash in 2009. Fortunately, she has since been replaced with the one you see here. So, let's start off with the World Peacekeepers Blackhawk. Appropriately enough, except for the word Army printed on the tail boom, it is completely blank. It doesn't really need an introduction or even a review. Even if I were to do a proper breakdown of this vehicle, there wouldn't be much to say. This helicopter couldn't be any more simplistic. The doors open, it has rubber wheels, and the rotor blades can fold for storage. It's simple, but also a classic. One thing I would like to note is this. Do you see this top piece on the rotor? On the real-life Blackhawk, these are called bifilar weights. They're actually supposed to spin with the rotor blades, and are intended to reduce vibration. However, on the toy, they're used to keep the rotor blades in place, and, by design, they don't move. Be cautious when spinning the blades, because these can jam your finger. The World Peacekeepers Blackhawk is sort of notorious for how poorly it works with 3 3/4 inch figures. It works well enough with PTE figures, but not so much with modern G.I. Joes. The crew compartment is simply too small. Something I always found funny is that the tail boom on the World Peacekeepers Blackhawk is a bit too short, which makes it look like the rain dance from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, we move on to the Elite Operations Blackhawk. This is the one I had when I was a kid. For those who are curious about the Elite Operations line, this was basically the predecessor to True Heroes. Like True Heroes, it served as a military toy line for Toys R Us, and was a collection of toys from different companies brought together under one brand, which included Chat May. In fact, the Elite Operations line is what introduced me to what would become the True Heroes Chinook. Some of you might find it perplexing that World Peacekeepers was even sold at Toys R Us at one point. Understandably so, because over the last decade we've become accustomed to buying them either online from Click and Play or at Big Lots. But cast all doubt aside, because here is the proof. On top of that, if memory serves me correctly, it was even sold in 2 colors. Black, like this one, and the other being green. I was unable to find a picture of it on Google, so I'm unable to show you an image of the green version. I mean, why would I, when we can just open the box and see that this is the green version? Seriously, I didn't even realize this was green until I opened the box. I mean, look at the footage prior to me opening it. It looks black. That's a pleasant surprise. The Elite Operations version is adorned with stickers, but function-wise, it is exactly the same. Appearance-wise, this helicopter looks good in green. I would say it's definitely an upgrade. Now, let's move on to the toy line we all know and love. True Heroes. Some of you might have noticed that one of the wheels is detached from the vehicle, so hopefully it's not broken. At the time of me writing this, the helicopter is still in the box. At some point, the company Motormax, which also made the True Heroes F-22 and Apache helicopter, appeared to have gained the rights to the World Peacekeepers Blackhawk design. Either that, or they made an extremely similar product under the nose of M&C Toys. I don't know. There's literally no information about what exactly is going on here. It was just like one day Motormax started pumping out copies of the World Peacekeepers Blackhawk. Obviously, the Blackhawk is a real helicopter, so naturally, two 3 3/4 inch scale versions of the same vehicle would have similarities, but they are almost exactly the same, and at a glance, the True Heroes version appears to be a carbon copy. The True Heroes / Motormax Blackhawk has 5 main differences. The anti-collision light is now completely transparent, instead of having an opaque red inside of it. This side window slides open. The 2 silver plastic parts of the Power Team Elite Blackhawk have been removed, and these portions are now simply molded onto the body of the aircraft. The wheels are now solid plastic, and the main rotor portion slides off, revealing an unused battery compartment. The figures suck. They feel gummy. I never thought that would be a word I would use to describe an action figure, but here we are. Other than that, if you weren't told what company made these, you would just assume they were the same. The last example we have is the US Coast Guard variant of the Motormax Blackhawk for a toy line called Rescue Mission. Though, for the record, this version was also sold in the True Heroes line. While you're opening the box, you'll see instructions for stickers that don't exist, and some of the stickers that are on the sticker sheet don't actually appear on the instructions. So if you don't mind, I'm going to put the stickers where I want them to go. This is just the previous helicopter with US Coast Guard livery and an added winch. It should be noted that the US Coast Guard doesn't actually use the Blackhawk. They use something called the Jayhawk. So that is, what I believe, is an incomplete but satisfactory look at the evolution of the World Peacekeepers Blackhawk. I really like the opening side windows on the later variants. On the original World Peacekeepers Blackhawk, there were molded seats behind the cockpit, which were not accessible. The Motormax version takes steps to address this issue, even if putting figures in those seats is still not entirely feasible. This would aid in making a SOAR MH-60M with miniguns, which I might do at some point. I think I'll end this video by talking about how scared I am with the current state of the World Peacekeepers toy line. I get the sense that it's dying. M&C Toys hasn't updated the World Peacekeepers Facebook page since February of 2023. There's been absolutely no word on that MRAP in 5 years, so I think we can assume that project is dead. Click and Play doesn't seem too keen on restocking on Amazon, and while the M&C Toys website is still up, there are multiple reports of people trying to purchase items from the website only to receive no response, which is a requirement for the purchasing process on the website. I don't want to sound too dramatic, because, we are talking about toys here, but it definitely seems like the glue that was holding the 1/18 scale community together is slowly coming apart. Is that how glue works? You know what I mean. Things look bleak, and I don't like it. This is the Human Mechanism. See you all later. Yo Joe, or whatever.